Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of Simply For Me. I'm really glad to have you all here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my tips for having healthy hair. I've gotten a lot of comments and questions about how to keep your hair healthy, and I did talk about some of them in my last video where I showed my wash process, but I really wanted to dig deep into some of my tips again. So I hope you enjoy watching. Before I go into my tips, I do want to say that healthy hair is more important than having long hair. Length retention is great, and I'm not saying it's not important because it is, and length retention could be a sign of healthy hair. But I think more importantly is that if you strive for healthy hair, the length retention will eventually come later if you like to wear your hair long. My very first tip for healthy hair is to know your hair. And by that, I mean that you should know how your hair behaves and reacts to different products and different techniques. Now, there are a lot of hair typing charts out there where they, say that your hair is a 4C, 4B, 3A if it has certain characteristics. I personally don't like to use those charts. But if I have to grade what my hair is or what best matches my hair type, I would say I'm a 4C. But how I like to classify my hair is that it's kinky coily. And I do have some curls sprinkled in there, but for the most part, it is kinky coily. And the thing is, on my head of hair, my hair behaves differently. And I think on each person's head of hair, your hair will behave differently depending on how your hair, depending on what part of your head you're styling. So for instance, the hair on the back of my head, it goes with the flow. I put products on it, it absorbs it, I will style it, it conforms. I don't need to do much to kind of get it going. The hair in the front of my hair is not very porous. So that's one characteristic I know. And by that, I mean that it doesn't absorb product easily. So because I know that I have to work products a lot more into this section of my hair. And it's not the driest, it's not like it's super dry, it's not anything like that, but I do know that it's not very porous, so I really have to take time to work in any product that I use. Now, the hair on the center of my head, it is the driest, it has the most curls, it is the one that's prone to tangle the most, and it just does what it wants. It's like the rebellious teenager. It doesn't listen to you, it just does what it wants. And because I know this about that section of my head, I ensure that I give it more love, I pay more attention, I put more products. It's the part I let my deep conditioner sit the longest because I just know that if I don't, it'll just get dry within like 2 to 3 days. So that's what I mean by know your hair. It's important to know how your hair behaves in general. The second tip that I have is moisturize, moisturize, moisturize. Now, when I say moisturize, when it comes to natural hair, I'm not necessarily talking about products. I'm talking about water. Our hair loves water, and that's the primary moisturizing ingredient for a natural healthy hair regimen. So the thing though is that water evaporates, right? So you actually have to then seal in the moisture, and that's where products come into play. I like to seal personally with Jamaican black castor oil. Some people like coconut oil. There are different types of oils out there. You just know what works best for your hair. And if you want to see how I seal my hair, seal the moisture into my hair, you can look into the video of my wash day routine, and I'll put the link below as well. So yeah, I use oils and I use butters as well to ensure that, like shea butter based products, to ensure that I seal in the moisture in my hair. It's very important. Now, the thing is with our hair, because of the texture we have, it's coily, it's curly, it's kinky. Because of how our hair is formed, the natural oils from our scalp cannot travel down our strands as well as, say, someone with straight hair. And because of that, our hair tends to get prone to dryness, and therefore it gets prone to breakage. So that's why moisturizing is very, very important. The third tip that I have is to detangle your hair. Again, because of the texture of our hair with the kinks and the coils, they love on each other and they tend to kind of grow on top of each other. It's important that you detangle your hair. Now, I personally do not use a comb. I don't use a brush to detangle my hair. And the reason is this. When I first went natural, my hair, of course, was growing out, and I would use combs or brushes, and I would notice that I just have clumps of hair falling out. And it's like, if you look at the strands, it's not like from the root, it's like breaking from the middle of the strand. And it bothered me, and I'm just kind of like, what's going on? But the more research I did, the more I found that because our hair is coily and it has all these kinks in it, the point of transition between the coils is actually prone to breakage, and it can snap if you're not being careful with your detangling process. And you know, when you're using a comb, you're just kind of like going at it, right? So you're not paying attention. So because of that, I switched to finger detangling, and that has made all the difference for me. I detangle my hair with my fingers, and you can see that process again in my wash day video. And again, I'll pop that link below. But yeah, so I finger detangle, and I ensure that I'm not pulling, I'm not snagging, I'm being gentle with my hair. And it's very important that you detangle your hair if you want to enhance the healthy nature of your hair and if you want to optimize hair growth as well. Another thing is to pay attention to single strand knots. Now, single strand knots are again, because of the texture of our hair, being coily or curly or kinky, and because of the way it grows, they love on each other, and sometimes they get tangled. You'll find these like single strands that are just knotted at the end. And the thing is, if you don't untangle them, they will prevent hair growth, and also they will cause damage to your hair. So it's very important that when you're detangling, because I finger detangle, I also feel for those knots. If I find one of those knots, I will try to untangle them. If I'm not successful, I just cut them off. I use a pair of shears, and I just cut them off right at the point where they form. Again, it's just to ensure that it doesn't slow down hair growth, and it keeps your hair healthy. And then the last tip that I have is put your hair in protective styles. Protective styles are those hairstyles that help to tuck and put the ends of your hair away from the elements. So I have on a protective style now, which is a low bun. If you want to see how I did it, let me know, and I'll make a video about that. Putting your hair in a high bun is also a protective style because your ends are nice and tucked away. Doing crochet braids is another form of protective style. Braids, twists, those things that keep the ends of your hair away are protective styles. And the reason is, the more you manipulate your hair, if your hands are always in your hair, or you're always manipulating it, it just leaves it more prone to breakage, because you're constantly moving and pulling and twisting and doing all these things. So I recommend that you do protective styles. I try to put my hair in a protective style once I wash. I put it in a protective style, and then I'm good to go for the week. There are times where I'll leave my hair out. As you know, my favorite thing to do are twist outs, and I'll do that too, but I try to minimize it, and in between my twist out styles, I will put my hair in a protective style. And now that it's kind of getting cold, we're in autumn now, and then it's kind of getting to winter time, that's even all the more important to ensure that you are protecting your ends and keeping them nice and tucked away. So those are my tips for having healthy hair. If you have more tips, please feel free to share. I'd love to hear from you all. You can catch me on Facebook and Instagram at Simply For Me. Thank you all so much for the love since my channel launched. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you on my next video of Simply For Me. Take care. Bye.